The shovel slipped from Nathan's trembling hands, clattering against the frost-kissed earth like a gunshot in the silent cemetery. He'd come to bury more than memories. His heart, cracked open by 2 years of pretending love, could be straight-lined and simple. But as the first spadeful hit the ground, a baby's wail pierced the fog, raw and insistent, dragging him back to a ghost he thought he'd silenced forever. Zachary's voice, whispering promises in the dark. Nathan froze, the chill of the November air in rural Pennsylvania seeping through his wool coat like accusation. The cemetery sprawled out behind the old family farmhouse he'd inherited after his parents' divorce, a patchwork of crooked headstones under skeletal oaks that whispered secrets to the wind. He'd driven 3 hours from his cramped Brooklyn apartment, fleeing the pitying glances of colleagues at the ad agency, the empty half of the king bed where Sarah used to curl up with her mystery novels. Sarah, his wife of 18 months, gone in a screech of tires and shattered glass on the FDR drive. No note, no warning, just the accelerator floored in rush-hour madness, leaving Nathan to sort the wreckage, her diaries filled with doubts, his own buried shame. He'd married her to prove something, to himself, to the world, to the ghost of Zachary, who'd walked out 5 years ago with a slammed door and a final, venomous, "You're too scared to live, Nate." Sarah had been safe, kind eyes, a laugh like wind chimes, a job as a school counselor that made her seem like the anchor he needed. They'd met at a grief support group after Nathan's mom passed. She'd lost her brother to opioids. It was supposed to be healing. Instead, it became a cage, gilded with white picket fences and Sunday brunches where Nathan smiled through gritted teeth, his body a stranger to itself. Now, kneeling by the open grave he dug himself, stubborn pride refusing the backhoe his uncle offered, Nathan wiped dirt from his palms and listened. The cry came again, closer, from beyond the wrought iron gate where the path curved toward the creek. Not a fox or a lost dog. Human, small, laced with exhaustion. He straightened, boots crunching gravel, and pushed through the gate, the shovel abandoned like a guilty confession. There, slumped against a lichen-covered oak, was a woman he didn't recognize. Mid-20s, maybe, with rain-soaked auburn hair plastered to her face, clutching a bundled infant to her chest as if it were the only buoy in a storm. The baby, God, not even a year old, tiny fists balled against the damp flannel of her shirt, let out another mule, face scrunched red. She rocked mechanically. I squeezed shut, oblivious to Nathan's approach until his shadow fell across her. "Ma'am," his voice cracked, Midwestern flatness from his Pennsylvania roots bleeding through the New York polish he'd cultivated. "You okay? It's freezing out here." Her eyes snapped open, green and wild, rimmed with mascara streaks like war paint. She scrambled back an inch, the baby jolting in her arms, before recognition or desperation pinned her in place. Nathan? Nathan Hale? The name hit like a sucker punch. No one called him that anymore, not since college, when Hale evoked too many dorm room hookups whispered in the shadows. "Yeah, that's me." "Do I know you?" She swallowed hard, shifting the baby higher, its downy head lolling against her collarbone. A faint scent of lavender baby lotion cut through the earthy rot of fallen leaves. "Emily. Emily Voss. I worked with Zachary at the clinic in Manhattan." Her voice trembled, not from cold, but something deeper, a fracture. "He said you'd be here today. That this was where you came to think. Zachary." The name detonated in Nathan's chest. A grenade of what-ifs and why-nots. Zachary Ellis, with his razor-sharp wit and hands that mapped Nathan's skin like uncharted territory. They'd met at a queer film festival in Bushwick, bonded over bad bourbon and worse poetry slams, fallen into a love that burned hot and fast, until it didn't. Until Nathan's fear of the world's glare, his dad's slurs echoing from the grave, made him pull away. "I can't do this forever, Zach. Not like this." The breakup had been brutal. Accusations, shattered mugs, Elise torn in half. Zachary had vanished into the city's underbelly, a graphic designer freelancing for indie bands, while Nathan armored up with Sarah. "What the hell does Zachary want with me now?" Nathan's words came out sharper than intended, edged with the grief he'd come to bury. He crouched, level with Emily, noting the dark circles under her eyes, the way her free hand twisted a silver locket at her throat. "And why are you out here with a baby in the middle of nowhere?" Emily's gaze dropped to the child, her fingers tracing its cheek with a tenderness that twisted something in Nathan's gut. "This is Lily. She's 6 months old." A pause, heavy as the fog rolling in from the creek. "Zachary's daughter. Biologically. Yours too." The world tilted. Nathan's knees buckled, gravel biting through his jeans as he sat hard on the path. "His too." The words echoed, nonsensical, pulling threads from a past he'd knotted shut. 5 years ago, in the fever of their love, they talked kids, wild, drunken dreams over takeout Thai. "Surrogacy," Zachary had said. "I's a light. We make our own family, Nate." Screw the biology bullshit. They'd consulted lawyers, scraped savings for IVF, chosen Emily, a med student at the clinic, empathetic and fierce from a roster of surrogates. But then the fights started, the doubts, and Nathan bailed. Signed away rights in a haze of panic, left Zachary to handle the fallout alone. "You kept going?" Nathan whispered, horror and awe tangling in his throat. "After I?" Emily nodded, tears spilling anew. "He loved you too much to stop. Said Lily deserved to exist, even if it was just him and her. But 6 months ago, things got bad. Zach's got leukemia aggressive, stage 4. Chemo wrecked him. He can't care for her anymore. The clinic's my old job. I stepped in when the nanny quit. But I'm drowning, Nathan. Bills, shifts, and he's slipping." She fumbled in her coat pocket, pulling out a crumpled envelope. Zachary's scrawl across the front. "For Nate. Read this, then decide." Nathan took it, fingers numb, the paper soft from handling. Inside, a single sheet, ink smudged like tears. "Nate, if you're reading this, I'm out of moves. Emily's got Lily, our girl, the one we dreamed up in that shithole on Avenue B. I kept her from you because I was pissed, then scared you'd reject her like you rejected us. But she's got your eyes, man. That stubborn jaw. Don't let her grow up without knowing where she came from. Or who. I'm sorry I couldn't wait for you to be brave. Burn this after. Or frame it. Your call. Love always, Z." The letter fluttered to the ground as Nathan reached for Lily, the baby's tiny hand curling around his thumb like fate's own latchkey. Emily watched, silent, as the first snowflakes dusted their shoulders, winter's indifferent witness to a life unraveling, thread by fragile thread. Nathan's hands shook as he buckled Lily into the ancient Graco car seat Emily had scavenged from the clinic's lost and found, its faded floral print a relic from another era. The drive back to the city was a blur of windshield wipers slapping rhythmically against the drizzle, the baby's soft breaths a counterpoint to the storm in his head. Emily had insisted on coming. "Zach's crashing at my place in Queens. He needs to see this through." But now, as the Queensboro Bridge loomed like a steel promise, doubt clawed at Nathan's resolve. What was he doing? A stranger to fatherhood, widowed and raw, hauling a child across state lines on a ghost's whim? Sarah's ring burned on his finger, a platinum noose he'd meant to pawn but couldn't. "You're doing this for her," he told himself, glancing in the rearview at Lily's sleeping form, lashes fanned like whispers against chubby cheeks. "For the family you owe her." But the lie tasted like ash. This was for Zachary, the man who'd cracked him open, then left him hollow. The man whose laugh still echoed in Nathan's dreams, husky and unfiltered, pulling him under like a riptide. Emily's apartment was a third-floor walk-up in Astoria, the kind of place where Greek bakeries bled into halal markets, and the air hummed with languages Nathan couldn't place. She unlocked the door with a key from around her neck, the space inside a chaotic nest. Stacks of medical journals teetering on a formica table, a bassinet draped in receiving blankets, posters of Frida Kahlo glaring from peeling walls. "He's in the bedroom," she murmured, scooping Lily close as if to shield her from the pall hanging in the air. "Been sleeping most days." "The meds." Nathan nodded, throat tight, and followed the thread of beeping monitors down the narrow hall. The door creaked open to dimness, curtains drawn against the afternoon gray, the scent of antiseptic and stale coffee thick as regret. There, in a hospital bed crammed against the window, lay Zachary. Thinner than Nathan remembered, cheekbones sharp as switchblades under translucent skin, blonde hair cropped close to hide the patches chemo had stolen. Tubes snaked from his arm to an four-pole, but his eyes, those piercing blue eyes that had once undressed Nathan across crowded bars, fluttered open at the sound. "Nate," the word was a rasp, barely audible over the hiss of oxygen. Zachary pushed up on one elbow, wincing, his gaze locking on the bundle in Emily's arms. You came." Nathan crossed the room in 3 strides, knees hitting the mattress edge. Close, Zachary looked like a sketch of himself. Faded lines, urgent strokes. "What the fuck? Zach? A kid? Our kid? You dropped this bomb like it's a goddamn post-it note." Anger flared in Zachary's eyes, then dimmed to something softer, sadder. "Didn't plan on dying at 29. Hero. Or on you playing house with Miss Perfect." He coughed, a wet rattle that made Nathan flinch, and reached out a hand for tug-taut. "Let me see her." Emily placed Lily in his arms, the baby stirring with a yawn, oblivious to the weight of the moment. Zachary's face crumpled, tears carving tracks down hollow cheeks as he pressed his lips to her forehead. "She's perfect. Nate took after you. Fussy as hell, but lights up a room." His voice broke. "I named her Lily, 'cause it was your mom's favorite. Thought it'd, I don't know, bridge the gap." Nathan's chest ached, a vice of grief and fury. He wanted to shake Zachary, demand why the secrecy, why the solo march through midnight feedings and doctor's visits while Nathan sipped Chardonnay at fundraisers, pretending normalcy. But seeing him like this, frail, fierce, stripped the fight bare. Instead, Nathan leaned in, fingers brushing Zachary's wrist where pulse thrummed weak but steady. You should have told me. From the start. Would you have stayed? Zachary's gaze held his, unflinching. Back then, when you were running scared from every queer flag that waved too loud, silence stretched, taut as the four-line. Nathan thought of Sarah's last words, slurred over wine. I know you're not all in, Nate, but I love the parts you give. Thought of the nights he'd lain awake, Zachary's phantom touch a brand on his skin. Maybe not, he admitted finally. But that's on me. Not Lily. Not you. Emily cleared her throat from the doorway, Lily reclaimed and fussing. I'll give you space. There's formula in the fridge, heat it slow. Test on your wrist. She slipped out, door clicking soft, leaving the two men in the half-light, years of unsaid words pooling like spilled ink. Zachary sank back, exhaustion etching deeper. Leukemia's a bitch. Caught it late, blamed the fatigue on deadlines, the bruises on bar fights. Emily's been a saint. Surrogate turned sister, basically. But I can't. Nate, if I go, promise me you'll take her. Not out of pity. Out of us. The plea hung, a lifeline Nathan wasn't sure he could grasp. He nodded anyway, the motion mechanical, as if his body knew what his heart still wrestled. We'll figure it. Doctors. Treatments. A weak laugh bubbled from Zachary. Optimist died with the hair. He gripped Nathan's hand, bones fragile as bird wings. Just stay tonight. Tell me about her. The wife. So Nathan did. Words tumbling like loose stones. Sarah's quirky laugh. Her habit of annotating takeout menus. The way she danced to Motown in the kitchen. Hips swaying loose and free. Omitted the fakeness. The guilt that had festered like an untreated wound. Zachary listened, eyes drifting to the window where rain pattered like impatient fingers. And when Nathan finished, he squeezed once, hard. Sounds like she deserved better. We both did. Night fell heavy, the apartment alive with Lily's gurgles and the distant wail of sirens. Nathan crashed on the lumpy couch. Zachary's letter folded in his pocket like a talisman. Sleep elusive as truth. In the witching hour, he slipped into the bedroom, watching Zachary's chest rise and fall, the monitor's green glow casting shadows that danced like old lovers. What now? A second chance? Poisoned by prognosis? Or a farewell dressed as redemption? Dawn crept in, painting the walls rose, and with it, a decision solidified in Nathan's gut. He'd call in sick, rally Emily for a specialist consult, Memorial Sloan Kettering, the best in the city. For Lily's sake. For the man who'd built a life from the ashes of their ruin. As the baby stirred in her crib, Nathan whispered to the empty air, "We're not done yet, Zach." Not by a long shot. Weeks blurred into a grind of fluorescent-lit waiting rooms and styrofoam coffee that tasted like regret. Nathan shuttled between his Brooklyn walk-up, now sublet to a barista with wanderlust, and Emily's Astoria bunker, juggling agency deadlines on his laptop while Lily gnawed teething rings beside him. Zachary's treatments ramped up. Targeted therapy laced with hope. Steroids that puffed his face but sparked fire in his eyes. Round 2. Cancer. He'd quip from the recliner, sketchpad balanced on knees, doodling fantastical beasts for Lily's nursery walls. Nathan watched, mesmerized by the resilience, the way Zachary's humor armored the fear. But cracks spiderwebbed beneath the surface. Sarah's estate settled in fits and starts, her sister contesting the will over a vintage brooch, probate dragging like molasses. Nathan's boss at the agency, a slick millennial with trust fund veneers, pulled him aside one Zoom. "Take the bereavement leave, Hale, but don't burn bridges." Clients smell distraction. Distraction. As if fatherhood, or whatever this half-claimed bond with Lily was, could be compartmentalized like ad copy. And Zachary. God, Zachary was a minefield of memory. Casual touches lingered. A hand on Nathan's shoulder during bottle feeds. Eyes meeting over Lily's head with heat that hadn't cooled. One night, after a grueling infusion that left Zachary retching into a basin, Nathan helped him back to bed, shirt sleeves rolled, skin salty under his palms. "Missed this?" Zachary murmured, head lolling against Nathan's chest. "You?" Holding the line. Nathan's pulse thundered, old hunger stirring. He wanted to dive in, reclaim the nights of tangled sheets and whispered futures. But betrayal lingered, bitter as chemo drip, the years stolen, the child hidden like contraband. "You shut me out, Zach. Built this without me." Zachary's eyes, fever bright, searched his. "Survival, Nate. You were gone, married, armored. I protected her from that rejection." A pause, voice cracking. "From mine, too, if it came to it." The words landed like shrapnel, embedding deep. Nathan pulled away, busying himself with fresh linens, the room thick with unspoken accusations. Emily sensed the frost, mediating with her quiet strength, double shifts at the ER, midnight runs for organic purees. "He's scared," she'd say, passing Nathan a burp cloth patterned with stars. "Leukemia's not just cells. It's the what-ifs. Give him grace, grace." Nathan clung to it like a rosary, reciting mantras during commutes on the 7 train. This is for Lily. This is redemption. Yet in quiet moments, rocking the baby to Colic's lullaby, he'd trace her features, his nose, Zachary's mouth, and feel the pull of something vast, uncharted. Fatherhood wasn't diapers and daycare. It was a mirror, reflecting the man he'd buried under suits and suburbia dreams. Thanksgiving loomed, a hollow drumbeat. Emily hosted, transforming her shoebox into a feast den with borrowed folding tables and a turkey from the corner bodega. Nathan arrived laden with pies from a Hell's Kitchen bakery, Lily strapped to his chest in a carrier that smelled of new rain. Zachary, propped in a wheelchair, steroids granting fragile mobility, greeted him with a lopsided grin. "Look at you, domesticated dad." Who knew? The jab stung, but Nathan swallowed it, helping Emily mash potatoes while Zachary regaled Lily with exaggerated tales of the Great Pumpkin Uprising. Laughter bubbled, tentative at first, then genuine, wine-loosening tongues, candlelight softening edges. As plates cleared, Zachary wheeled to the window, city lights twinkling like distant fires. "Remember our first Thanksgiving? That fire escape picnic. Turkey sandwiches and cheap Merlot." Nathan nodded, throat tight, the memory vivid. Rain pattering on tin, Zachary's knee pressed warm against his. "Yeah. You burned the gravy. Ruined it." "You mean?" Zachary's hand found his across the sill, callous thumb tracing knuckles. "We were invincible then. Were we?" Nathan's voice was low, the room's chatter fading to hum. "Or just blind?" Zachary's grip tightened. "Doesn't matter. We're here now. With her." He nodded to Lily, dozing in Emily's lap, thumb tucked in mouth. "That's the win." But wins in this war were Pyrrhic. Scans post-holiday showed progress, tumors shrinking, markers dipping, but the cost mounted. Neuropathy numbing Zachary's fingers, rendering sketches shaky, isolation gnawing as friends drifted, uncomfortable with sickness's specter. Nathan stepped deeper in, quitting freelance gigs to freelance full-time from Astoria, his portfolio a casualty to burp stains and bedtime stories. One blizzard night, snow blanketing Queens in hush, the dam broke. Lily down with a fever, teething amplified to crisis. Nathan paced the living room, thermometer in one hand, Zachary's in the other. Emily was on call, the ER a war zone of holiday aftermath. She's burning up, Nathan hissed, panic edging his calm. Zachary, pale from his own low-grade fever, pulled him down to the couch. Breathe, Nate. Acetaminophen, cool cloths. We've got this. His arms wrapped around, solid despite the frailty, and Nathan sagged, face buried in Zachary's neck. The scent of him, clean sweat and sandalwood, undoing years of restraint. I can't lose you both, Nathan choked out, the confession raw. Not when I've barely started. Zachary's laugh was a feather against his hair. Then don't. Fight with me. Their lips met then, hesitant, then hungry, a spark reigniting embers. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, it was need. Primal and unapologetic. Hands mapping scars both visible and not. They made love there, slow and deliberate, the world reduced to gasps and the storm's muffled roar. Afterward, tangled in throw blankets, Zachary traced Nathan's wedding ring finger. Bare now, the pawn shop receipt tucked in a drawer. Sarah? He asked softly. Gone, Nathan murmured. Like the lie. In the morning, Lily's fever broke with the dawn, color returning to her cheeks as snow melted to slush. Emily found them like that, domestic, entwined and arched a brow over coffee mugs. About time, boys. Now past the creamer. Spring unfurled tentative. Cherry blossoms dusting Brooklyn sidewalks like confetti for a parade Nathan hadn't planned. Zachary's counts stabilized. Outpatient visits stretching to fortnights. His wheelchair traded for a cane that he wielded like a scepter. Nathan moved them into his walk-up, bigger space, better light, turning the second bedroom into a nursery splashed with Zachary's murals. Whales spouting rainbows, foxes in bow ties dancing under moons. Lily toddled now. First steps a wobble from Emily's coffee table to Nathan's outstretched arms. Her giggle a melody that stitched their fractures. But peace was a jealous lover, fragile against intrusion. Sarah's sister, Vanessa, surfaced like a bad sequel, letters laced with venom, accusing Nathan of neglect, of driving her sibling to despair. You killed her spirit, one read, postmarked from Philly. Now you play happy family with him? The words unearthed diaries Nathan had boxed away. Sarah's pleas for honesty, her own buried attractions to women she'd never voiced. Guilt surged. A tidal wave, had his half-life drowned her too? He confessed to Zachary over rooftop beers. City hum below like a heartbeat. I was selfish. Used her as cover, then buried the mess. Zachary set his bottle down. I steady. We all wear masks, Nate. Hers was heavier 'cause you shared the weight. He leaned in, breath warm. But you're here now. Unmasked. That's the betrayal she would have wanted, the one to yourself. Vanessa's final salvo came via certified mail. A lawsuit threat over Sarah's modest savings, twisted into custody claims for moral oversight of Lily. Nathan's lawyer, a no-nonsense dyke from Chelsea, laughed it off. Frivolous as fuck. We'll countersue for harassment. But the stress etched lines on Zachary's face. Relapses lurking like shadows. Climax brewed in summer swelter. A heat wave turning Astoria into a sauna. Zachary's routine scan, they dared to believe, revealed a rogue mass. Metastasis to the liver, quiet and cruel. It's back, he said flatly in the oncologist's office, hand crushing Nathan's to powder. But slower this time. We pivot. Nathan didn't pivot, he shattered. Lily napping under the fan's lazy spin. He raged, fists through drywall, sobs that racked like seizures. Zachary watched from the kitchen stool, then crossed, pulling him close. Not fair, Nathan snarled, face wet against Zachary's shirt. We just got here. Life's a bastard, Zachary agreed, voice steady. But it's ours. Fight dirty with me. They did clinical trials at Sloan. Experimental immunotherapies that left Zachary a ghost. Hair regrowing in patches. Nausea a constant shadow. Nathan quit the agency outright, cobbling income from graphic side hustles. His own sketches born of desperation. Portraits of Lily's grin. Zachary's defiant stare. Emily became family. Godmother inked on legal pads. Her ER shifts synced to cover daycare gaps. Betrayal's ghost resurfaced in autumn leaves. Zachary's honesty spilling during a midnight vigil. I lied once, he admitted, morphine dulling edges. About the surrogacy. Emily wasn't just a carrier. She was my cousin. Kept it quiet so you'd sign off without strings. Nathan stilled. Betrayal's blade twisting fresh. Family? You rigged it. To protect us, Zachary rasped. If you bailed, no blood ties to haunt. But it chained me. Couldn't reach out without unraveling. Fury boiled. Hot and righteous. You played God with my kid. Our kid. He stormed to the fire escape. City lights blurring through tears. The skyline a indifferent judge. Zachary followed. Cane thumping. I was terrified, Nate. Of losing her. Of you choosing safe over us again. His hand on Nathan's back. Tentative. Forgive me, or walk. But stay for her. Dawn broke with armistice. Nathan's, I will whispered into Zachary's collarbone. Not absolution, but alliance. They dove deeper, couples counseling with a queer therapist in the village. Sessions dissecting closets and cancers. Lily's first word, dada, landed equidistant, claimed by both. A bridge of Babel. Winter circled back. 2 years from that cemetery crossroads. Zachary's latest PET scan, a miracle etched in black and white. Remission, tentative but true. No guarantees, the docs cautioned, but hope wasn't a dirty word anymore. They celebrated small. A ring exchange in Central Park. Silver bands engraved us, unbroken. Lily scattering petals with pudgy fists. Nathan stood at Sarah's grave on the anniversary. Lily balanced on hip. Zachary's arm looped loose around his waist. The headstone gleamed under fresh snow. Inscription simple. Sarah Kleinhale, dancer in the light. Thanks for the push, Nathan murmured, tracing letters. Wherever you are. Emily joined later. Her own life blooming, a promotion, a girlfriend with tattooed arms and a laugh like bells. Family's what we forge, she said, hoisting Lily for a spin. As dusk fell, the 4+1, counting the bump under Emily's sweater, a sibling surprise walked out, footsteps sinking in the crunch. No tidy bows, no villains vanquished, just lives laced with loss, love's stubborn weed pushing through concrete. Nathan glanced at Zachary, eyes crinkling in that old, heart-stealing way, and thought, this is America, messy, resilient, ours. The baby in Emily's arms kicked, promise unspoken, and the world, for once, felt wide enough to hold them all.